Hey, good morning, folks. Hope everyone's doing all right. It is Tuesday, Tuesday 26th, the day before we get the FOMC announcement tomorrow. Speaking of which, pretty much sort of like a multitude of things that could potentially go right, go very right, or go very wrong because we also have big earnings coming through from the likes of Microsoft and Google, and that is after market today. So speaking of earnings, I mean we will cover that a short bit in the Don't Capital Discord room, so be sure to check that out. And also remember, hit subscribe, the bell icon to get notified for future videos. So let's just get stuck in here. There is not much going on apart from a few key products, I would say, the likes of because we have the latest squeeze out of Russia. Nat gas has gone absolutely. That is just, look at that. That is just multi days of just green and green. But I don't trade nat gas. I'm not going to speak too much about this. But in terms of the macro side, this is also helping out. Obviously, crude. Supply tightness as usual. Helping moving things along. But what I did realize this morning was we are within this sort of what do you call this, like a down channel, right? So testing that as we trade basically, and this prior support trend line that got broken. I mean, it's not going to be a measure of whether or not we're short or trade above from here on out. It will now be a key level to see if you do break through, maybe potential take profit area over here before we push further up to test these prior highs made this year, and that is crude. Do I see a downside in terms of the fundies? A couple of things. If China starts getting locked down again, definitely, because we are looking. I shared this in the Discord room yesterday. One of the things that is potentially hitting this from Zero Hedge. Mind you, they do, release and share quite bleak news, but we are looking at used cars numbers to just basically shoot through the roof because of the number of cars that are going to get repossessed in this higher rates environment from the Fed. So if we get like 100 basis point hike tomorrow, chances are we might see some downside on the crude market. I mean, that is if we're just speaking in terms of demand destruction and the rates environment. I'm not talking about supply tightness. Obviously, if we basically just have no Russian crude, that might actually stabilize things, to be fair. In terms of technical, some really fun things to talk about so 106, I mentioned this yesterday, we are making some sort of floor over here on the 106 handle on the Dixie, whether or not we trade below. I don't think any sort of spur below here would be long lived. So basically, it would be short lived, to just then trade back and remain around the 106 handle, basically pricing in that 75 basis point hike. Um, Yields continue to drop, but very stable stuff. T-notes, like I said, looking to test that prior inflection here that happened in around April time. In terms of equities, I mean very clear. This happened a couple of days ago, but what I do like to bring up is this. So multi-day support trend line over here. So we've got 4 days now. So it is testing that at the moment. Whether or not it will break through remains to be seen. But Walmart has come out and said and put out an earnings warning. So if Walmart is putting out an earnings warning, there is a possibility that the Dow might get hit a bit because and basically the equity space as a whole because we're talking about consumers here. and consumer, i.e., rates market, i.e., global slowdown, yada yada yada. So these are the technicals. Look at that. That's just beautiful. I mean, so still on equities, I saw this on the Dow today. Look at that. That is a daily chart, so which makes this resistance trend line all the more tasty. So if you break through, holds above just 3,000, and there you go. We have the 32,000, just just slightly above this basically electronic open for the day, which is also the high of the 28th of June. So a lot of levels and technicals sort of just lining up right now, and at the same time we have such just stuck in that really, not say confusing, but with the Fed coming through and earnings coming out, it's like, okay, sit on your hands, wait for these things to happen, let it play out, see where things go, because, as usual, you might get that, like, buy the rumor, sell the fact, sell the rumor, buy the fact sort of thing. So might it's always pertinent to remember that you are not the only person trading in the market. So that's on the Dow. Apart from that, so I mean, gold remains elevated above its August 2021 low over there. This obviously with the Dixie just trading back on the 106 is obviously helping. So that is really it for me today. So a couple of key technical levels, couple of things, couple of fundies to monitor and keep in mind. I hope this was useful. This is Reed, bringing you a daily briefing. Um, have a great session ahead. Any questions, as usual, hit me up in the comments and I will try and get to them as quickly as I can. Cheers.